everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. It is episode number 303 for March the 18th, 2025, and I hope you've had a good weekend, and I hope you're looking forward to this week, because we need joy. We do. A lot of it lately, don't we? Okay, moving right on to what brings me joy and what I've been doing. I got a few more blocks done for the Barn Star sampler. I'm getting there. I cut some fabric yesterday for the next few blocks. So yeah, I'm really finding it difficult to get motivated on this quilt. I love it. But I'm just, once I get into it, I'm okay. Okay? But I have to get into it. And other projects seem to get in my way on purpose. I think I'm procrastinating with this particular quilt. But anyways, I got a few more things done. And one thing I want to point out to you, because one of my subscribers pointed it out to me when they saw this in the background on my vlog yesterday, that I made a mistake. Well, I just wouldn't be the idiot quilter, would I, if I didn't do an idiot thing. And I thank Nina for pointing this out to me, because I did not see it. And so if you look right in the center of the screen here on that big square that's got the pinky coral plummy colors to it, and two of them are right beside each other, well, you'll notice that there's a problem. If you look at the top two rows of the one on the right in the center and compare it to the one on the left, yeah, I switched one of the blocks around. Actually, I have fixed it now. Thank you, Nina, again for that. Because I would have been really ticked off with myself if I'd finally finished this quilt up from hell and looked at the final thing. And when I say I looked at it, it probably would have been Walter looking at it, who would have said, "What happened here?" And at that point, I probably would never have been able to have fixed it. But anyways, I have fixed it. It was just, there was a 4-patch block there that was just turned 90 degrees. So, and it was on the corner, so it was easy just to rip back the border pieces and rip that out, flip it, and sew it back in. So thank you again, Nina, for letting me know about that. I really appreciate it. Yes, I'll be honest, sometimes when people point out things to me, I get a little upset. I don't get upset with them. It's not because they found the mistake. In fact, it's a great editing tool, having you as subscribers look at my blocks and point out things to me that I, did wrong. But you know what it's like after you've worked on something for a while, and you get mad at yourself. You're just mad at yourself. But anyways, I have corrected it. All's good in the world. Thanks again for your editing. Yes, I know I should have Walter look at it more often. And usually he does. In fact, he enjoys spotting my mistakes. But this was one that I guess he didn't really look at. I didn't have him really look at. I guess I'll have to swallow my pride and let Walter look at my work before I go too far with it, because he will find the mistake. He's very good at it. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing, I did the steampunk. I did show this on So Chatty, and I talked about on So Chatty fairly extensively about the problems with this particular pattern. This is a sweet pea pattern. I have never made a clutch before. It's in the hoop project, completely in the hoop, with the exception of the handles. You sew the pieces and everything together right in the hoop. I really loved it. The faux leather that I used worked out really well with this, but if you see that video, if you go to the So Chatty video from last week, you will hear about some of the minor problems I had with it. But one of the major problems was the fact that this file was written for, well, it's written for all machines, because you can purchase it for whatever machine you own. But many of the machines attach to the left. And what I mean by that is the hoop attaches to the bar that moves it around on the left-hand side of the machine. On the Genomes, on the Genome 550Es, anyways, it attaches to the right. Now, this is generally not a problem, but it was for this pattern, because when you did the clutch part, the bottom part, you couldn't get the fabric on it. They do, Sweet Pea usually builds their linings into these kind of projects, and in order to have the lining built in, you have to tape fabric to the underside of your hoop and then flip them this way and that way. Well, with the way they had designed it, the fabric would have gotten in the way of the mechanism that attaches the hoop to the bar. And I spent a good hour, literally an hour, trying to figure this out. What was I doing wrong? Studying the instructions carefully, the whole bit. And there was a lot of screaming and swearing. Thank goodness Walter had gone out, because he would have been driven out with that. I finally got the idea that maybe in the editing program that's built into the machine, I could just flip the design horizontally and I wouldn't have the problem. Yeah, took me an hour to figure that out. But what would have been helpful is if in the instructions they had included a line saying, note, those of you with a hoop system that attaches to the right side of the hoop, you should flip this pattern horizontally before you begin. That would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of frustration. So actually, though, I did have a problem with some other files I bought from them. Oh, before I go to that, though, I said I would never do another one of these. So guess what I did? Another one of these. I saw this pattern. It was on sale from Sweet Pea, and I decided, okay, I've already worked out the bugs. This one probably works the same way, and I will do it. And I did. And it worked fine. No problems, really. Well, that's not completely true. I did have a problem, but the problem was a user problem. And I'm going to show you how I fixed it and what it was. See if I can, I don't know if I can get this. Yes, I can. Okay, I'm just going to bear with me for a second. I'm blowing this up. Let's see, can I move it? How do I move it? That's not moving. There we go. Okay. Look at this corner of this butterfly. It looks a little different, doesn't it? From the sashing over here, from the satin stitch over here. Okay, and I'll tell you why. When I was putting one of the layers of fabric down on this near the end of the project, and as I told you, these projects from Sweet Pea, there's a lot of layers of fabric that are flipped this way, that way, and always on the top and the bottom of the hoop. I inadvertently, when it was stitching down this fabric that went on the top, I caught and didn't realize this corner. It sewed it into it. So I had to pull it out. In the process of pulling it out of the seam, I cut a couple of the strands of the satin stitching. Now, if you cut satin stitching, even if you cut one strand, it'll all start to unravel. And that's exactly what happened here. Now, there was no way I could have put that back into the hoop and gone back over that spot. So I took it to my sewing machine. I used the same thread that I used in the embroidery machine for this, and I set up my machine to do a satin stitch. And I went around the corner. I went around the corner a couple of times to catch it all in there. So it does look a little rough. However, let me just go back out of here. However, nobody is going to really notice that that is different. It doesn't take away from the purse or the clutch. Only I know that that's there. So when I give this, and I am giving this as a gift, I'm not going to mention this because the person I'm giving it to doesn't know anything about machine embroidery, for that matter, doesn't know anything about sewing or whatever. So they will never notice that there's this little minor error that is there. So I covered it up. I mean, yes, when I discovered that I had this problem, there was more cursing and swearing. So I should rename both of these clutches the cursing and swearing clutches because I did a lot of it. Now, I had another problem with Sweet Pea. And I have been telling you about some of the problems I've been having with Sweet Pea designs. I have been buying Sweet Pea designs for years. I love their designs. But lately, and I don't know if there's been a change in personnel or something. Someone did mention to me that it's a family-run business. I knew that, but that the parents or whatever have sort of semi-retired or retired from it, and a son has taken it over or something. I don't know if that's true or not. That may be just hearsay. But either way, I have noticed on the patterns that I've been buying lately, there are errors, minor errors in them. And I think I mentioned that to you. They consist of basically, there may be in one part of the pattern they've misnumbered their instructions in there, or the actual stitching steps. They've repeated the same one, or they've got them out of order. And, you figure that out fairly quickly if you've had any experience with machine embroidery. So it didn't give me a lot of grief, but it did annoy me because after all, you are paying for this pattern. So you expect it to be error-free, right? But these happen on occasion, except the last 3 patterns that I have bought from Sweet Pea all had these minor errors in it. Or they've left out a very small instruction, but a key instruction. So, if you were a brand newbie to this kind of thing, you would be very, very frustrated with this, and you might not want to buy any more of those designs. You might even say, hey, I'm just sticking to doing embroidery on towels, putting on monograms. And that would be a waste, really. It would be. Okay, so I have this other, I'm going to start another bag. It's the gnome bag, And you know how I love gnomes. I've had this one for a couple of weeks. I purchased it on one of their sales, and I thought yesterday I would start it again because I didn't feel like working on the Barn Star sampler. So I did. Well, yeah, there was a problem. I couldn't get the files transferred from my computer to my embroidery machine. Now, Janome has a very quirky way of setting up a directory structure on a USB stick. And I know what that is. So I transferred the files, loaded them up on the machine, nothing came up. There were no files there. There were directories for the various sizes, because you always get subdirectories with, various sizes for most in the machine patterns. But they were all empty. Nothing there. But when I put the USB stick back into my computer, they were there. I tried a lot of things. I was getting very frustrated. So I wrote to Sweet Pea and said, hey, look, I just bought these. I've downloaded them. I told them what I was doing and everything like that. I thought there was a flaw in the files. Notice I said I thought. Enter Walter. Walter heard me being a little bit frustrated. He knows when I'm frustrated because I'm kind of vocal about it. That's just me. And he said, what's going on? So I told him. He says, here, give me that USB stick. And he took it upstairs and he looked at it. And he came back down and says, try it now. Worked. What did Walter do? There are a lot of subdirectories for this particular pattern. And the Janome 550E can only handle about 2 levels of subdirectories. I knew that, but for some reason, my brain wasn't functioning on that. And so, yeah, Walter moved them up a level. Fine. No problem. Yeah. So there you are, right? So that error was human error, my error, an idiot quilter error, right? But I'd already written to Sweet Pea. Now, because of the time difference, because Sweet Pea's located out in Australia, I didn't expect a reply. And I got one this morning. When I got up, there was one on my computer. And they wanted to know more details about the problem. So I wrote back to them immediately and I told them, not your problem, it's my problem. This is what was happening. Sorry to have bothered you. But I said, but whatever, while I've got you on the line, sort of, it's email, I explained to them the problems I have been experiencing with the last few files that I bought that I just explained to you. Now, I had sent them an email about that a couple of weeks ago and I never got a reply. So I don't know if they didn't see it or what. Now, I do know that I sent it directly to what I thought was probably their email address, whereas this other complaint, I went through their website into their contact page and they have a form. So maybe that was the problem. But I have written to them now and I've explained in detail what the problem is and why I'm reporting it. And I was nice in the email. I wasn't bitching at them, just, more or less for your information, because if newbies buy your patterns, this might put them off of buying any more with these kind of things. So anyways, we'll see if I get a reply back from that. I don't expect I'll get one today because it's tomorrow early in the morning for them. Whatever, I think they're 18 hours difference from us. So, and they're 18 hours ahead of us. So yeah. Anyways, I'll let you know if I get anything from them. Okay. And I will still continue to buy Sweet Pea patterns because, as I said, I like their patterns. And just lately, I've been finding these little minor errors. We'll live through that. Okay, the other thing I want to show you is this. My big maple leaf, my big red maple leaf. This was easy to do. It's an in the hoop project. It does it in 2 pieces and then it sews the 2 pieces together in the hoop. And yes, this was a Sweet Pea design as well. And it was on sale for a ridiculously low price of about, actually, I think this might have been free. I think it was free. Or was it, there was a base to go with this for making a Canadian flag. And you can see the Canadian flag actually right behind this shoulder. See, just right there hanging. There you go, hanging on the wall back there. Yeah, that's using that big maple leaf and what they called the flag base for it. Although the proportions of the flag are a little bit out. The white part of our flag, of the Canadian flag, is a little more square than rectangle in that. But nevertheless, it was kind of fun. So what am I doing with this maple leaf? I made 2 of them, and they're in the front windows of my house. Just a subtle thing showing my support for my country given this very difficult time. And I encourage any of my Canadian subscribers out there to put something on your lawn. It doesn't have to be huge. Ideally, put in a flagpole and raise the flag. But just something to inspire all the rest of us Canadians to let us know that we are standing together against these in this time of threat. And I don't need to go into the details. Everybody knows what that threat is, that we are standing strong. Elbows up. Okay? And if you saw my video this week, my blog, you know what I'm talking about, elbows up. All right. So, what else is happening? Okay, well, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, there will not be one this Wednesday. I am off to a guild to do a presentation, which I'm a little nervous about. And thank you, everybody, for your kind words of support with this. I'm sure I will live through it. I am having some anxiety right now, which is kind of unusual for me. Is because I've been retired for so long now. I have, I don't get up in front of groups of people like I used to. Well, I suppose this is getting up in front of groups of people. But that's really not what's giving me the anxiety. The anxiety is the technology. My stuff is on PowerPoint, and I think I've already mentioned, so I won't go over it again, how I've prepared for that with backup plans. I'm sure everything's going to work out fine, but I will be happy when it's over, kind of a thing. Or I might be disappointed. I don't know. I'll admit I am a little bit of I have a show person inside me that comes out every now and then, especially on things like this, these presentations. I do like being in front of people to a little bit. I have to summon up that part of my personality when I do it, psych myself up, so to speak. But yeah. Anyways, that's tomorrow, and that's why we have to do some traveling to get there. It's only an hour and a half to the east of us, or a little less than that. Not a big deal. And I think the weather's supposed to be nice tomorrow, so even better for driving. My chauffeur will be happy about that, i.e. Walter. And yeah, so I'll let you know how that goes next week on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, and another announcement though, there is going to be a sewing day, but Russ of Quilt Meets World, that's this coming Sunday, is having his sewing shenanigans this Sunday. So if you've never been to one, you should go. We have a lot of fun there. Yes, I will be there, of course, supporting my friend Russ, and enjoying a sew day. So that's this coming Sunday, which is March the, let's see, 19, 20, 20, 20, March 23rd. And go to Russ's vlog this week. He usually puts his up on Wednesdays, and I'm sure you'll hear more details about it. And if you're on his mailing list, you've already got the details for it. So come along, enjoy, join us all. All right. So that takes me to reviews and demos and thoughts and sew-alongs and everything like that. So Chatty. So Chatty, last Friday, we did the In the Hoop bag making part 5, and that's the final part, and basically show you the final assembly of the whole bag. Now, unfortunately, we do not have Walter's bag because both of us were working on our own versions of the bag. Walter didn't finish his homework, the bad boy. I don't know. I heard that the dog ate his homework, or his grandmother had passed away for the 50th time. Yeah. Nope. But he said he's going to have it done for this week's So Chatty, so you'll all be able to get to see his version of the bag. But in the meanwhile, on that one, I showed you mine. Now, this coming week, besides showing you Walter's bag, we're going to have a bag show. Yeah, I know that sounds gross. Don't go there. It's a visual. Don't do it. We're doing the bag show. We're going to do a trunk show of the bags we have made that we still have around here. And we've done more than In the Hoop bags in the past. In fact, doing In the Hoop bags is something fairly recent for us. So we'll be showing you different ones. I have some that I've made from patterns that come from by Annie. I do believe I have a bag that I made from instructions from a pattern created by Adam of Adam Sews. And Walter, of course, has his fancy Christmas bags. I think he's still got one that he can show you and talk about and that kind of thing. So yeah, we're going to talk about bags, all about bags, our bags, this coming week. And then I'm not sure what we're going to do next. So if you have suggestions for So Chatty as far as what we can develop into a series, you know, of 3 or 4 parts or whatever, please put it in the comments below or send us an email directly about it, and we will entertain your ideas. Okay, so I bought some things, as people do. These are called Sashers. You may or may not know about these. They are little plastic things for making all types of binding, like all sizes of binding. They work very well. What you do is you select the one for the size of the binding, the finished binding that you want. So I always make binding from 2.5-inch strips. That ends up being 1.25 inch. So you pick one of these things that's marked as 1.25 inches, and you can't see it in the picture that well, but they are marked with measurements on them. And you fold your strip, about 6 inches of the strip, half, as you would when you're making binding. Thread it through those little holes, lay it flat on your pressing mat, and if you notice on these, they have a little curve in the edge of them, and that matches the curve of your iron. So you put your hot iron down on top of the piece of binding you've already pulled through the sasher, and press the curve of it up against it, and just slide your iron along it. And this moves along with your iron, folding the fabric, and you just pull on the end of it as you do this, and it'll make your sashing. Simple device. I'm sure they've been around for years, new to me, and so I ordered some, but I looked at them on Amazon, and they are available on Amazon. They're called Sashers. But I'm not buying things on Amazon these days, or at least trying very hard not to, because of the whole problem we're having between the States and Canada, supporting my people. So I went on Temu, and they were ridiculously inexpensive. And I wondered if they would be heat resistant. Well, they are, and they work fine. But I probably won't use them much. And why? Because of something else that I bought. And the other thing that I bought, and I don't think I have, no, I don't have a picture of it, is called the Binding Magic Machine. This is a little device. It was expensive. It's not so expensive for the Americans, but it's expensive for us Canadians. I think it ended up costing me with shipping and all that stuff about $53. Whereas if I bought it, well, it with the exchange rate would have killed me anyways, and the duties, and I'm not buying from the States right now, anything. It would have cost about half that price. But anyways, I did buy it, and I've tried it, and I've made a little video of it. So here's what I'm talking about. So I bought this thing. This thing is called, here's the packaging, which is kind of destroyed. It's called the Magic Binding Maker. And I saw this on YouTube, and I explored it a little further, and one of my subscribers has gotten one, and she loves it. So mine just arrived today, and I'm going to give it a try, show you how well it works. Now, this little box is meant for taking a 2.5-inch strip of fabric and making it into your binding without using a iron. So how does this work? You'll notice here, first of all, that there's a little black arrow. That shows you the direction that you push the piece of, or the strip through. On the back, there is a barcode that will, if you put your camera up to this, it'll take you to a video of how to use this as well. But it's pretty easy. So there are some silicone little clips on either side of this, and these just lift up, and it opens up like a clamshell. Now there is a little track in here, some raised sides, and this is for you to line up the edges of your fabric when you first set this up. I also find that this is a little bit on the slippery side, so I have a piece of shelf liner that I'm just going to lay down here on my cutting mat, and this will keep this, see, it slides around on anything that's smooth. This will keep it, give it a little bit of resistance. Okay, so the first thing you do is you take your 2-inch strip, 2.5-inch strip. There is, one of these is made for 2.25 if you prefer 2.25-inch binding. You have to fold it in half as you would anytime you're making binding. Just let me get this across here. And give it a good finger press. They recommend doing about 6 inches of this. I'm not doing this very well. This old strip's been sitting around for a while. It's a little bit wrinkly. Okay. Thread it through the bottom of the machine at the back and lay it down between those two, or that little track that's there. Close it down, clamp it, and what you should be able to do is slowly pull this through, and you will get a nicely folded and creased strip. Now you may have to readjust it, but you don't need to use your iron with this. You may want to go over later, give a little bit of a press to this strip after you've pulled it all the way through. But this way you don't burn your fingers. And I usually burn my fingers. Now I have another thing that I've been using for quite a while, which is a silicone pad that your iron sits on top of, and there's a couple of little loops on either side, and you do what I'm doing right now, except it goes right under your iron. Okay, we've come to the end. Let's take a look and see how well it did it. Now there, I went off. I went off on that part, but I can touch that up with my iron. It probably started to go in a little bit crooked. So you want to do this slowly. And you have your 2-inch binding strip without using your iron. But as I said, I think I would take my iron now and just go along the strip just to give it a better crease. This did not crease it that well. Okay. I think it needs a little bit more pressure, but you can't adjust the pressure on it. Now, what do I think? Is this worth the money, or is this just another gadget? Well, I have mixed feelings about it. One, it was easy for it to go off center here, so my binding didn't come out perfect. It slides too much on a surface, so you've got to weigh it down. I know that my subscriber that showed this to us, she used a piece of double-sided tape, and she said that worked really well. And yeah, I could try that too. But the problem I'm having with it is it doesn't crease. It creases, but not really crisp enough. Also, it's the price. In the States, I think this runs around $25. In Canada, I saw it from $37 to $42. And I did pay $37.95 for this, plus shipping, plus taxes. This little sucker cost me over $50. Okay? Is it worth $50 when there's other systems around? Well, for me, I don't think so. I bought it to try it. I'm very happy with the other system that I used, but that was expensive too. The silicone pad, at the time that I bought it, it cost me with shipping and everything, and in Canadian dollars, about $80 for it. So this is a little less expensive, and you won't burn your fingers with this. So I will use this the next time I make actual binding for a quilt to give it a better chance to try it out. Also, I saw on their video, they said that when you have a join in your strip, as you will, you may have to go a little slower and help guide it a little more through the machine and give it a firmer tug because of the bulk. So I think the concept is a really great concept. I think there's room for improvement on this little item. So that's the Magic Binding Maker, and it is by, who's it by? Taylor Seville. So up to you whether or not you think this is a device that you want to invest in. So I haven't actually used it yet beyond that demo. I can see some problems, as I mentioned in the video as well with it. Not sure if it's going to be worth the $53 I paid for it, but we shall see. And I will update you on it when I use it legit, when I'm actually using it to create binding for a quilt. I'll let you know how I feel about it then. Okay, now, a little bit of sad news. I just found out literally minutes before I started recording this video. A very prominent person, well-loved person in the quilting community. I have followed this person for years. When I first got into quilting, this was one of the first YouTube channels I went to. And I'm talking about Jordan Fabrics, and I'm talking about Donna Jordan. Donna Jordan passed away on March the 14th. And that is very sad. We have lost a great in the quilting community. I loved her videos. I loved her personality. Not that I'd ever met the lady in person, but yeah. So it is a very significant loss to our community. And if you want to know more about it, her last video has been posted on YouTube, and there's a link for it in my show notes below. And in the last third of that video, her husband, Matt, I think it's Matt, he comes on and talks about Donna, and yeah, and have a box of Kleenex with you because it is sad. Okay, let's move on to things that may cheer us up a little bit better, and that's Subscribers Quilt of the Week, and this comes from nobody strange to this channel, Pat Jennings, who is a regular here and a regular on our sew days and pop-up sew days, and Pat is somebody I call a friend. And I have actually, as you know, because I put up a video back last year when we were going down to Dahlonega for Stephanie's retreat, we dropped in on Pat and spent a lovely couple of hours seeing her beautiful creations and talking to Pat. So here is another one of her beautiful creations. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from Pat Jennings, and we've seen some of her beautiful creations many times before. Pat is a good friend to the channel and a longtime subscriber, and she makes the most beautiful art quilts. Now, I'm not sure if Pat would refer to her quilts as art quilts, but I most certainly do, because they are works of art. And this one, as you can see with the two birds, is definitely an artist quilt. Now, Pat says about this quilt, just completed the custom quilting on my home machine using white metallic thread. Measures 42 inches by 52 inches. The parrot pattern is free from tilde.com and adapted by me. Pat has, as she confesses, an aversion to commercial patterns. She likes to do her own thing, and her own thing is always very lovely. But not only that, if she does do a pattern, as in the case of this, she adapts it, she alters it, she makes it her own and puts her own artistic flair to it, and the end result is always wonderful. And if you remember back some time ago, I visited with Pat in her home, and she took us around on a tour of all of her beautiful creations, and it was just delightful. And that's on one of my videos back in December or early January. It was just after we had gone to Stephanie's retreat in Dahlonega, so you may want to look that one up if you've never seen Pat's creations before. They are absolutely beautiful, absolutely delightful, and thank you, Pat, for sending this beautiful creation for all of us to admire. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week, and I came upon this by accident, and I'm not even sure how to say the name of the site. It is weird. It's something like capital A, E, space, I, capital P, O, O, I don't know, Aopui. I have no idea how to say it. But on this particular video that I'm featuring here, the person who put this up makes this cute little mini bag, little mini tote bag that you use as a decoration to hang off a major bag, off a big tote bag. You make it basically the same way as you make a regular size tote, but this one's about 3 inches in size. It is so stinking cute. So anyways, here's what I'm talking about when it comes to this particular video. This week's YouTube video of the week is one on how to make a cute little mini bag to hang on your bag handle straps. And when I saw this, I thought, I want to try this at some point in time, because this is really, really cute. The little bag you're seeing here in the thumbnail is basically only 3 inches square. It's very tiny, but it's made very much in the same fashion as you would make a full-size tote. Wouldn't it look great if you made a tote exactly like this and then attached to the handle the mini version of the bag? I think that would make a very unique and exciting gift. This particular YouTube channel is one I've just come across, and there is a lot of bag making tutorials on it, and they're very well done. At least like this one, if you watch it, you will see that there isn't any explanation or talking over top of it. There is just the video, but the video is done so well that it would be very difficult for you not to be able to have success in making whatever creation this person does. Now, I don't know how to say the name of the channel. It is capital A, little e, space, capital P, O-O-I, capital M. Aopui? I have no idea how to say that at all. But it is a channel worth checking out, not just for this video, but for all the other ones. So do check the playlist for this particular channel, and the link for it's in the show notes. So you may want to go there. The link is in the show notes, and maybe try making a mini bag. I want to try to make a little mini bag because I just think they're so cute, really. And she has other things. She has a lot of videos on there, and they all seem to be very clear in the instructions, and she doesn't speak in them. She just shows you. It's all done in like no verbiage in it whatsoever, but looks very easy to follow. So maybe I should make one of her bags one day, full-size bags, and see how that works out. Okay, so speaking of future projects, this is a free pattern. Well, it isn't free, but it's a pattern design that I got free as a thank you gift from my order from Quilticious, which I showed last week, which was very nice of them to do that. And it looks like a cool pattern. So I thought I would share it with you here. This week's future project is a pattern by Ladybug Design, and it's called My Sewing Box. Now, I got this as a free pattern. It came with my last shipment from Quilticious when I ordered a whole bunch, and I showed it to you last week, of O Canada Fabrics by Northcott. And this was included as a free gift in the box. And I really like the design. I think this is going to be a lot of fun to make. And if you want to get a hold of this pattern as well, I have the link that you're seeing right now in the show notes below. It is a digital version. It comes as a PDF, so that is great. And they do have a feature charm pack that you can use for this. So this is obviously charm pack friendly. I don't think I'll be using that particular fabric line whenever I get to this. I don't know what I'll use, but since it uses charm pack, I am sure that you will be able to use up some of the charm packs you may have in your stash that you may have bought some time ago and forgot all about, like me, or just scrap fabrics too will probably work with this. So I'm looking forward to making this particular words fail me, this particular pattern, and it does have a very modern feel to it as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be great. So what have I been working on the past week? Well, I've been doing this, that, and the other thing, and this little video clip I'm going to insert here is going to show you what this, that, and the other thing have been. So in the past week, I've got a little bit more done on the barnyard sampler. As you can see, these blocks here. I think I'm about to start. Well, I have to cut blocks for, and this is my big basket of all of this stuff right here. This is all the Barnstar sampler stuff. I need to start cutting the next series of blocks, blocks 12 and 13. I usually cut them in sets of 2 or whatever and carry on with that. Not sure how much I'll get into that this week because I have some other things. I am doing a guild presentation on Wednesday. And as I already mentioned, there is no sewing with Stephanie and Steven this week. Yeah, I made the clutches, as you can see. They're hanging here. These gave me some trouble, as I've already mentioned, but yeah, they're done and they are going to be gifts. So that's great. Let's see what's going on over here on the desk. Well, you can see this series of jars. Walter and I are starting to think about our plans for our trips this year. Our first one is in the tail end, or the middle of May, actually. No, it's the tail end of May. No, the middle of May, because we're going for 2 weeks, yeah. We've already purchased some new travel equipment for packing our stuff because we're going to be going via train across Holland, and we want to pack really light for the train, you know, so that we can have basically our suitcase won't be a suitcase, but it's going to be sort of a backpack. But Walter found some backpacks that are designed for this, so we're going to get them. But I need stuff to keep my toiletries in, so I'm experimenting with different types of jars. I want to make sure that they're watertight as well, and I'm printing them on the 3D printer. These are just prototypes. I haven't actually decided on which ones I will actually use, but to keep, you know, my stuff compact, neat, and protected in these bags we have purchased, that we haven't got yet, but we purchased for the trip. So over on this side, yeah, I've got all the printers at the time of doing this little video here all set up, ready to go. I'm going to make some more of those jars. And in here In the Bamboo Labs printer, I have been working for the last, quite a few days now, actually, on putting pieces together for my next 3D project, major 3D project, and that's a theater. And that's by that same person that I made the Christmas Manor from his plans and the haunted house as well. And now this is another one. And I really love his stuff. I'm drying filament right now because I've got some really old spools of filament and they absorb moisture over time and then become brittle. So I've had this dryer device for quite a while. So I'm using it to dry out some filament, see if that makes a difference or whether I've just got a lot of old filament that needs to be scrapped. And yeah, I guess that's about everything I've been working on this week. You can see more things here. You already saw that dragon. So yeah, never bored, always busy. And another thing that I managed to do this week, which was quite exciting, is I conducted an interview. I haven't done one in a while. And this interview I did with a gentleman called Barry Hughes of Bary's Quilts. I recently came upon his YouTube channel and I like what I see. He's a beginner quilter and he's doing wonderfully on what he has been working on. And it's nice to see another gentleman. There's are many of us now, I know that, but it's always nice to come to another gentleman's YouTube channel that is a quilter. And so I reached out to Bary and he kindly agreed to do an interview with me. And so you will find today it has been posted, the interview I did with Bary's Quilts. And the link to that interview, the full interview, is in my show notes. But here's just a little bit of a teaser for you. What were you doing before you got into quilting?
Well, I've done a variety of things, and I would pick up. Well, I was an electrician for 40 years, and I retired during the pandemic, and I was looking for something to do. I found out when you retire, you just don't stop working. You got to do something.
Right.
So I went through making candles to making birdhouses to selling on eBay, and I didn't like any of them.
So you're kind of exploring all the possibilities out there until
Right.
you found your niche. So I'm assuming you found your niche in quilting then.
Oh yes. I think I've went overboard with.
So what attracted you to it? How did you get started? What made you say, hey, I might want to make a quilt?
Well, actually, let's start with when I was like 10 or 11 years old. Me and my cousin went and stayed with my grandmother 1 week, one whole week, and she said she would never do it again. But I think to keep us out of trouble, she started having us. Back then you didn't have rulers or templates, and she had us take a cardboard template that she had made and draw them out and then cut out pieces. And that's where my first experience of piecing was. And like I said, I've always admired the Amish. I'm only a couple hours from Holmes County, and I go up and I see those quilts. I'm fascinated by all the detail. Um, so in
So I hope you'll watch the video of the interview and I hope you'll go and support Bary's channel as well. And all that information is in the show notes of the video itself. Okay, so that takes me to an online quilt store. Now, way back when, well, about a year ago, I went to this particular quilt store. It's actually operated out of the owner's house, and she has a wonderful garage sale, kind of, if you want to call it that, once a year. So Walter and I went, and there was great selection of fabrics, great prices. I bought a lot. And I met the owner, and she's a lovely person. And I did come, she has a website, an online store, and I think I reviewed it. I don't know if I reviewed it extensively last year or not. I had video of the actual day of the garage sale. But I've gone back to revisit her website, which I found vastly improved since the last time I was, and she has great prices. So here's my review of Rhonda's Quilt Creations. This week's online quilt store is one that comes from a place very close to me and that I'm about to go to give my quilt presentation, or my guild presentation, and it's Rhonda's Quilt Creations, and I have had the pleasure of visiting her shop. She works out of her home last year. She usually has a big sale at the end of June, and it is a sale worth going to, I can tell you that. I bought a lot of fabric when I was there, and I am planning, I hope, to get there again this year as well. But in the meantime, she does have an internet page, a web page, and this is the front page, and as you can see, she is advertising in a very attractive way some of her products that she sells. And she does not just fabric, but she also does thread as well. And she's got her new arrivals here, and her prices are very good. But we'll check that out in a little bit more detail in a second after we've been through the front page. She does have a newsletter as well. And if you sign up for it, you'll get 10% off your first order. And we're just moving down here, and we'll talk about her shipping and everything like that. But here's a little bit about her. Rhonda's Quilt Creations is a commerce base located in Brighton, Ontario. We sell fabric, interfacing, sewing needles, patterns, and of course, quilts and quilted items. Special orders are always welcome. So let us take a little closer look at what we have, or what she has to offer. So fabric. There we go. And she has it listed on the side as in alphabetical order. Under fabric, she has over 1,000 pieces of fabric to choose from. She has batiks. She has Benartex. Benartex is one that I love, Benartex fabrics, and not always easy to get. Not all quilt stores in my area handle Benartex. She has children's, Christmas, Halloween. Then it's cotton, flannel, floral, Henry glass, etc. So let's pop into cotton and see what comes up. And here we go. She has her pre-cuts are included in each of these categories as well, as you can see. And $45 is not a bad price for a jelly roll, or in this case, strip packages. Fabric, I assume that this fabric price is for half a meter. Let's check it out to be sure. And does she tell us? Under additional information, maybe? Tells us the weight. I am sure that what she is showing is half meter. So that would make it $16 a meter, which is a good price, a very good price. I'll just see if she talks about that in, if she has anything maybe here under shipping. I just want to confirm it, but I'm pretty sure that's half a meter. Shipping. Well, while we're here, we can talk about shipping. If you buy over $250, it's free, with the exception of Newfoundland and the territories. Shipping is provided with Canada Post, and in the event you request FedEx, please contact the store. I guess there would be a different price for that, of course. So, yeah, it doesn't say how much the shipping is, but if I remember correctly, it was very reasonable. It's Canada Post rates. But, you know, if you buy over $250 worth, and that's not hard to do, then it's free shipping. Okay, let's go back and into the fabric. And I'm just seeing, oh, it's right here at the top. You know, it helps if you read. Fabric order quantities. Unless specified otherwise, the quantity of fabric on our website is measured in half meter cuts. Okay, so that makes sense. So let's just go back down here again and take a look at the average price. She does have some things, specialty fabrics, seasonal fabrics that she has on sale right now for $5 a half meter, so $10 a meter. That's really good. $8, $7.50. So so it looks like it's $15 to $16 a meter. Let's just pop over to a little further in the list and see if that theory is right. Yeah, it looks like it. Pretty much. $15 to $16 a meter. Excellent, excellent price. All right, so it looks like she has a wide selection of fabrics. Let's check out batting and see how she sells her batting. And here we go. 96-inch premium cotton unbleached, fusible unbleached, warm and natural, Pellin Nature's Touch. So basically it looks like she sells batting at about $15 for 96-inch a meter, which is a good price as well. And if you want unbleached premium, it's going to cost you about, what's that, $17.50 a meter. So still very good price. Not a large selection of different kinds of batting, but enough to get you through. Okay, let's go to, let's see, what else can we find here? Let's go under, or just before we leave fabric, she does have a separate section for pre-cuts. And $45 for strip packs. And she has flannel fat quarter. She doesn't have, well, she doesn't have a bad selection in 2.5-inch strips, but in other sizes, it doesn't look like she has any, 10-inch squares, layer cakes. But these are pretty much a safe bet right here, because these strips here you can use in a variety of projects, no problem. All right, let's go to, I'm holding back sneezes, sorry. I'm trying not to cut out on here. Okay, let's go to Notions. She doesn't have anything. Notions carried in the store change quickly. With being an e-commerce store, there's not the room to hold large items. Those can be specially ordered. What we do have on hand in needles for your machine, and occasionally carry travel mugs and other small items. These can also be special ordered. Okay, so she doesn't really list anything, but she gives a reason why. At least when I clicked on the link, we had this explanation of why there isn't anything listed here. I hate it when you go to a online quilt store and you click on a link and it comes off either as a 404, meaning the web page doesn't exist, or it's just blank with no explanation. Oh, I just noticed something down here at the bottom. I am feeling very patriotic and want to help me fellow Canadian with 25% off sale on everything. Use coupon code CAN. The sale runs until the 18th of April. Okay. Her prices are already low and she's offering 25%. I need wide backing. I think I may be putting in an order. And does she have a section? She does. Section for wide backing. And let's see what she charges for that. Whoa, that's good. $22, $23 a meter. What's this? The 26, that's still good. And a fairly good selection, 2 pages of them. Oh, at 25% off on that price, coming back. I need backing, wide backing. So excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, can you tell I'm impressed? Now I have to be honest, I actually met her, and I actually and her name isn't Rhonda, I don't think. I forget what her name is now. Don't think it might be Rhonda. But anyways, doesn't matter. Lovely lady, great selection, great prices. I loved her sale. So yeah. And I think she has updated her webpage since the last time I was here. I think she has changed it a little bit, and it looks very, very good, and it's very easy to navigate. Okay, enough talk. Let's check out Notions. Oh, we already did Notions. Oh, God, it's hard to get old. Okay, long arm service. So she does long arm is $2 per square inch, or $2, sorry, 2 cents per square inch. Well, that's pretty cheap. And machine binding can also be provided at 10 cents per linear inch. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, it seems to me that she doesn't do custom. She's doing pantographs, but that's okay. But that's very, very good price for long arming. Okay, we'll click on all products here because I think she has some thread. And we're back here. So let's see. Did she have thread? Not listed here. So I guess that's one of the items you need to contact her about if you're interested. Okay, so that's Rhonda's Quilt Creations in Brighton, Ontario. Well worth checking out, especially right now, her big sale. Checking out her website. The link is in the show notes below. And as I said, once a year, she has a big, big sale. It's outdoors. It's a lot of fun, very busy, so get there early if you're interested. And best way to find out when she's going to have this is get yourself on her mailing list as well. So again, that's Rhonda's Quilt Creations. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this week's episode of the Idiot Quilter. And tomorrow I'm off to the quilt presentation, so no sewing with Stephanie and Stephen tomorrow. And advance notice way down the road. Probably not that way down, though, with the way time flies these days. The Idiot Quilter Spring 2025 Retreat, April 26th, Saturday, April 26th. You might want to pencil that into your calendar. All the details and registration information, it is a free event, but there is registration, will all be coming out in about the first week of April, so in a couple of weeks' time, so stay tuned for that. Okay. I hope you have a great week. Join us for So Chatty for our bake show on Friday. And also hope to see you on Sunday during our live, Stephen and Walter Live. Have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye for now.